Have you been making excuses saying that you don't have enough money, enough time, enough motivation, or resources, or something else? And these excuses have been things that have been holding you back from your goal. Let's be honest, we've all been there, and I have too. I too have made the same excuses. I have said, I'll start tomorrow, I'll do it when I feel better, when life gets a little bit less hectic and less busy. I've been someone who waited for that perfect time. And I want you to know that you are not alone in that. But over time, I found a way to get through it. Not by being more motivated or, becoming disciplined overnight, but actually really learning how to work through my excuses. And by the end of this podcast episode, you will be able to as well. You're listening to Healthy Hypocrites. This is the podcast where we talk about the messy intersection between faith, science, and health, but also where we get vulnerable. I'm your host, Tumi, a follower of Christ, but also a dietitian and a lactation consultant, and I believe that wellness is not about perfection, but instead it's about honesty, intention, and grace. Well, today's topic is really dear to everybody's hearts because everybody has made excuses for things that they should have done or should be doing. But let's not waste any time. Let's get into the confession jar. My favorite, as you guys know. Let's see what today's confession is. I want you to be honest, to be vulnerable, and actually answer this question because I'm going to answer it too. We're both going to be vulnerable. You see? That's how it goes. So let's see what today's confession is. What excuse is holding you back? With me, I would say the excuse that has held me back time and time again is feeling that there's not enough space for me and there's too much saturation. And I find that I have this excuse when it comes to achieving things business-wise, content-wise, feeling as though there are too many people doing it already. And what we often forget is that, yes, there are other people doing it. Naturally, there will be competition everywhere. And we still need to persevere and do the thing that God sent us to do because he did not give that assignment to anybody else but you. The way that I like to think about it is there are so many different fruits and so many different vegetables. They're all so unique, but they all exist within the same soil, using the same sunlight, breathing off, like living off of the same carbon dioxide. And yes, they all seem like they're in competition, but they're really not. They are just sharing the resource that is earth, but all trees are different. All fruit are different. They taste different. No two fruits will ever be the same. So it's the same thing with us. And let's talk about excuses. What is an excuse in the first place? An excuse is a reason we give ourselves to avoid discomfort. Things like not having enough time, energy, money, not feeling ready. But the truth about these reasons is that they're not all lies, but at the same time, they're not all truth. So why do we even make excuses at all? The reason why we make excuses is because we're protecting ourselves from many things. One of those things, and this is the biggest aspect, is we're protecting ourselves from being uncomfortable. We do not like being uncomfortable. No matter what you say, nobody likes it. Whoever endures it is enduring it because they've decided. Another thing that we avoid when we make excuses is failure, inconvenience, but also responsibility. Because excuses, when you have an excuse, you don't have to act. You're exempt from the action because you have an excuse. But growth requires action, and that action will always and very often make you uncomfortable. Now, I want to challenge you. Is your excuse actually real, or is it just convenient? When you say that you're tired, yes, you could actually really be tired, but can you really do nothing? Can you really not even do one single push-up? When you say that you don't have time, do you really not have even a minute? If I look at your screen time right now, will that indicate that you don't have time? Or will that indicate something else? Or do you not maybe have enough time to do it perfectly the way that you were hoping for? And this takes us to the very first thing that we need to do in order to overcome these excuses is you need to look at your excuses and decide, is this particular excuse, is it a barrier or is it an obstacle? Because there is a difference, and it's a big difference. A barrier is something where you cannot possibly move past it. But an obstacle is difficult to move past, but you can get around it. You can get through it and you can overcome it. And most of the time, the excuses that we make are actually obstacles and not barriers. If you're tired and you need to exercise, you can be tired, it can be true, but you can do a tired exercise. It probably won't be that beautiful hour that you spend at the gym where you feel so good and energetic. It's probably going to look like 15 minutes of you dragging yourself to the next squat. If you want to eat a healthy meal, but you don't have time to cook, it's you're probably going to have to find something else. Buy a healthy meal. Get it from somewhere else. Throw up something that will take you less than 5 minutes. But it is not a barrier. It is an obstacle. If you don't have money and you need to see, if you cannot afford to see a physiotherapist once a week as recommended, you don't have to say, I'm not going to see the physio because I don't have money. You can make a plan and say, okay, I cannot afford 4 times a month, once a week, but I can do once a month. And so that way, what we allow ourselves to do is to be flexible instead of being rigid so that we don't quit and instead we adjust. But we can sit here all day and think about obstacles and barriers and what is what. But the very biggest thing when it comes to overcoming your excuses and being bigger than them is having an all or nothing mindset. Believing that if you do not do something properly, that it does not count. If you don't value the small efforts that you make towards your goal, then every single obstacle that you will come across will feel like a barrier because you don't appreciate the small things, the small actions that you do to better yourself. And this is where a lot of us become inconsistent. Those small actions that you think don't actually matter, they're everything. From a faith point of view, I would like to share this. Proverbs 24 verse 16 reminds you, for a righteous man may fall 7 times and rise again. You are allowed to fall, but you need to adjust. You cannot stay down. And this is the biggest thing about excuses. They allow you and encourage you to stay down. They keep you comfortable on the floor. I want you to leave with this. Your life is not held back by circumstances. It's being shaped by the excuses that you keep on accepting. The solution in this situation is not trying to be perfect. The solution is that you do not need to be perfect and should not aim for that, but rather to be flexible in your perspective and to know that 2 things can be true. You can be tired, but you can still do an effort, even if it's a 10% effort. Because that's what it means to show up. That's what it means to work through your excuses. You've been listening to Healthy Hypocrites. This is the podcast where we get real about wellness and grace. And I'm Tumi. And until next time, remember, you do not need to be perfect to be at peace. You just need to be present and intentional. And I will see you next week, Tuesday at 6. Bye.